Hello and welcome back, and thank you for visiting Conscious Libre again. I think it's going to rain. Hopefully not. Conscious soul types? Where did that come from? Conscious soul types. Okay, that was interesting. I don't know where that came from. However, that isn't what I was going to talk about. What I was going to talk about, or attempt to talk about, is collective soul types. What a collective soul type is not, it is not a load of soulmates, because soulmates are all very different, unique, different energy souls. They're not soulmates. A collective soul connection is a collective consciousness. It's in quantum physics, there is a quality of where something can exist in two places at once. It's kind of like that. It's a consciousness that exists. How it was shown to me is that consciousness is like a spherical cloud. It's like a spherical cloud. And this cloud, parts of that cloud can, I don't want to say separate because that's not quite true, it can divide. That's the better word, it can divide. So then you can have, it doesn't stay as that cloud consciousness, it takes form. Though the cloud consciousness and that form is still the same consciousness. So you could say that it's one soul that can divide into many souls, and then it can come back into one soul. This is why it easily gets confused with twin flames. Is one soul and two people. The collective consciousness isn't limited to one soul, one consciousness. The consciousness can divide on any level, on any consciousness level, and because it can divide, you can have many people. In my case, there was 9. My one's passed away, so there's only 8 now. Though, whereas twin flames is seen to be the what, in this case, the what would be the collective soul connection, the collective soul consciousness. But what goes on between all those individuals, that becomes their dynamic. And in this case, the dynamic between the collectives, because they are all the same being, they can go through whichever process that they're like. That's why the collective consciousness can be confusing, because there can be many, and the twin flame process, the dynamic, can be done through those collectives as well. It's almost like the twin flame process, rather than being what we are, it's what we're going through as a part of our next evolution. So it's more of a process. So whereas two people in a twin flame process, they come together and they merge their energies, it's exactly the same with us. I have each one of them connected to a chakra, and through that chakra, when it's merged, there is that sense of us. So the one connected to my heart is the one that I call my twin flame, because he seems to be the one that I'm going through that twin flame process with. When they joined, that was where the awareness of him and I am. And in my sacral, or sacral, depending how you say it, when I focus there, I then connect to the one that's connected to that one, and that is our space, and that is where we are. So we're all connecting together to form this whole collective. It's almost like each of us are a chakra in ourselves, and as we connect, we're forming a larger being, a larger collective. I haven't looked any more into that yet because I'm busy trying to finish this twin flame process off. For me, when I had all my information when I was 15, this cloud consciousness and this understanding of this consciousness that can divide, and your immediate family is those from the same cloud consciousness as you. I had all this when I was 15, though my actual physical manifestation of my immediate family, I only came across them 4 years ago. So my story actually has proven what I was coming up with them. How could I have the connection with all of these at the same time? And my information really backed that up from me. It really backed it up for me. So I haven't just met physical people and I thought, oh, there's all these who's and all these people and all these emotions, what's going on? I haven't had any of that, so it leaves me really clear to actually be able to understand what's happening beyond the physical level, which I guess it was maybe made that way to start with, so it gives me a bit more of a different view on things. But as I never came across the collective part, I never really took note of that part of the story. I say it's a story, it's more of my own guidebook to my own ascension process, which I somehow managed to slip myself when I was younger, which was nice. It's just, even though that story has remained the same, as I grow, I'm understanding it in new ways and new levels. It's amazing, really, just how it works. I know not everyone, that's a part I don't understand, why. I've read so many people saying that they didn't know what twin flames were until they met theirs, and I'm just thinking, how? That doesn't make sense to me. I had the whole guidebook. This is a spiritual being. This is what dimensions are. This is what reality is. This is what higher consciousness is like. This is what the process and the merging is like. This is what you'll go on to find with this cloud consciousness. This is what it feels like. I had all that when I was younger. I don't understand how twin flames don't have that. It doesn't make sense to me. If they were that high, a connection from that high, surely they would have that. It doesn't make sense to me. I haven't, as I said, I'm still working on the twin flame dynamic, the one which I've made great progress on today. I think after that I'll be carry on working with the collective part, because I think from what I understand, this twin flame dynamic with this one member of my collective, he is acting, I always saw him as a new start, because he was someone I was like, I know that my being is in love with another being, but who is this person? I don't know who. Clue being the who. I don't know who this is. I'm not going to go into it again. I went through this whole who thing in another video that I just shot earlier. I'll put the link up here. So the understanding of not knowing the who, why I can't connect this love to this who, how the who and the unawareness of that was the only block that actually does exist up there. From what I can understand, I'm not 100% sure on this, but as I understand it, this might be just personally for me, I don't know. It might be the same with all collective soul types, all collectives, I don't know, but my collective seems to come together around the 13th chakra. Now, I don't adhere to any chakra systems, I just use numbers to help me understand what I've worked on last and what happened and that kind of thing. So 13 for me is from the crown chakra 7 and up. There are more in the body, but it's just for simplicity. So the 13th chakra from the crown 7, that seems to be where my collective being comes together. It's where the collective starts. That's what I should say. I started on the 13th chakra yesterday because I haven't worked on them for ages. I've been concentrating on the ones here, and that is where I saw the imagery that I always associate with the collective, which is 3 bands of colour around a being, kind of like an aura. That to me is a symbol of my collective, and at the moment, when I was younger there was 2, and then a 3rd one joined, and I keep seeing sometimes a little 4th one. I don't know, but there's 3 at the moment. it looks like there's 4 because the middle band, I've never seen it this way before, but the middle band, the middle colour, the middle consciousness, it's split down the middle, so there's 2 of that one colour. I can still see it, I can see it now. There's the 2 in the middle, a split, but they're the same colour. And I'm wondering if that's me and the twin flame part. That would actually make sense. But that's what I'm working on, so that's fine. I'm not worried about that. So there is no stages of, this is how to know you're a collective. You'll know you're a collective when you have a twin flame and then another twin flame turns up. And at that point you should know exactly, not with complete certainty, but you should have a pretty good idea of what constitutes the soul, the experiences of the same soul, the same being, the same consciousness. And then when another one comes along, again, use discernment. Give it a year, give it 2 years, give it 3 years. And if that is still there and it's still growing and it is exactly the same as the last one, it might not feel exactly the same. For me, they're 2 equal intensity, they're the same thing, but there's a difference there. That sameness is the fact that they are a collective with you. The difference, because they're somehow the same but different, the difference is the fact of the different dynamics that you have with them. So the first one that I came across was actually one of my collectives that I have a soulmate dynamic with, like a real primary soulmate. But because we're a collective, we still merged and we still joined, which was very confusing. And then this other one came along, and here we go again. We're going through the whole twin flame process. We're merging, but it was different. And the difference was that dynamic. One was a soulmate, was twin flame. We're still in the same collective, therefore we are still joining, we are still merging. But there's just that little difference, and that little difference is here. I mean, I love my soulmate. He has literally been around since the beginning. Forever. He has always been there. He has always been with me. And I belong, not to him, but I belong with him. I know that. But with my twin, the one of the collective I have my twin flame dynamic with, I remember that we were together as children, but obviously it's not in here that we were children because we've never met here. But the difference in here is amazing. The way it feels, it's just so different. Even though it's still the same intensity of love, there's just this little change. Here, as we are in this reality, in this incarnation, our relationship, how that relationship would manifest, probably wouldn't actually be any different. If you saw us next to each other, saw us interacting with each other, it would seem that we have exactly the same relationship. Because that's the only way that can manifest there. The difference, I don't think that can manifest here. I don't think there's any way to manifest that here. Because here it's exactly the same thing. It's strange. There's that difference there which isn't there at the same time. But because we're a collective, we can be anything. And that's the dynamic currently going on between me and these 2 others. Yet here, that dynamic, they're basically the same. Because it's so restricted here about how the dynamic between us can play out. We can be so many things to each other. It's just completely free. It's just completely open. It's amazing. I know I get in trouble for calling it a twin flame dynamic because technically it's not. But the only people that have trouble with that is when they stick religiously to the concept, and they won't, and they're trying to fit the universe and all of reality and all multi-dimensions into that one concept. And yeah, it doesn't help. It doesn't help people like me and the others out there that are going through this, but that's not their fault. I know this has been a little bit of it's been more of a talk really, more of a topic discussion, and I haven't done one of them for a while, and I must admit I've really missed them because it really helps me as well. It really helps me to process and come up with new ideas, to verbally express it, and I hope it helps people to hear it as well, and that it gives them ideas and inspiration. Because I know there isn't that much on this around anymore, though I've only been experiencing it for the past 4 years. So I don't have that much experience, but I think it's better than nothing. It gets things out there and it creates a foundation, which is what I'm looking to do. That's what I want. That's what I want this to be. A foundation. Not just for the people, but it's for myself as well. I haven't got any more information to give, I'm afraid. This is as much as I understand right now. If anyone has any questions about this, feel free to ask in the comments, and I'll either reply in the comments, or if I have enough questions or there's a lot more that I can say on the matter, I will make a video in response. If you'd like to see any more videos on this topic, or any of the other topics that I cover on here, please like and subscribe. I do appreciate your support. I'm trying to grow this channel to help people with the newer understandings, the newer soul connections, because the old information isn't helping the people with the new and other types of soul connections. So that is what I'm trying to do here, and I'd appreciate your support. So thank you for visiting, and I'll see you next time.